FPL has arrived. The game is out for the 2024-25 season, and with that, the new FPL meta begins to form. My name is Benji, and today I'll be ranking the top 5 most effective FPL midfielders for the first 5 game weeks. Thinking cap activated. Before we begin, just understand that I'm not saying you should own all of these players. I think 1 to 3 is a good balance, just depending on what financial structure you're thinking of using in your FPL drafts. By the way, I'll be releasing a defender and a forward version of this, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Now, you're looking at the new FPL prices thinking, which bloody midfield premium am I happy to go against early doors? Well, there's one guy you shouldn't go against. It's Mohamed Salah. Here's why. In the last 2 seasons, Salah's averaging 1 goal/assist per start in the first 5 game weeks. There is no other midfield premium with a return rate that consistent at the start of the season. Based on Salah's return rate alone, you'd be expecting 5 returns in the first 5 game weeks, which is what you'd hope for from a player priced at 12.5 million in the midfield. Now, obviously, there's a possibility he underperforms/overperforms his return rate, but analyzing Salah's past seasons, he's basically got a floor return of 4 GA with a return ceiling of 7 involvements in the opening 5. Can the other midfield premiums offer 4 to 7 GA in the first 5? I'm not so sure. And if you're still unconvinced, you need to know that Salah's returned in game week 1 for 7 seasons in a row. Just deep that for a sec. He's returned a game week 1 goal/assist for 7 seasons straight. Take whatever you want out of this statistic, but surely Mo, with that record, is up there for game week 1 captain playing Ipswich Town away. He's got penalties, consistency, explosive potential. There's so much to like there as a package. Even if you're looking at pros/cons, the only real downside to Salah as a pick is the question marks around Arne Slot's and whether he actually progresses/regresses Liverpool as a whole. But Salah's proven that even in Klopp's worst seasons, his personal performance standards, they don't drop, and Mo's still able to put up world-class numbers. As a lifelong Man United supporter, I hate to say it, but Salah is the most meta midfielder to start with in FPL. Unless there's a problem with Mo in Liverpool's preseason, he will be a lock in my Game Week 1 team for sure. Next, James Maddison. And look, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, is this guy nuts? Those fixtures aren't enticing at all. Arsenal in Game Week 4, Newcastle in Game Week 3. But the thing you need to know about Maddo is that historically, he's been starting seasons stronger than almost any cam in the Premier League. If you can find a way to rotate him in game weeks 3 and 4, and maybe you won't even need to rotate him in game week 4 because I think Arsenal at home, he could get a return there. I think if you can find a way to rotate him, I think he will offer you some incredible value. So, in the past 2 seasons, Maddison's averaged 0.7 goals or assists per start across the first 5 fixtures, which is actually the second best return rate behind Salah. That's higher than Foden, Saka, Fernandes, Gordon, Rashford, Odegaard, Bowen, and Heung-min Son. Doing the math, so return rate multiplied by number of games, which would be 5, Maddison is basically expected to return 3.5 goals or assists in the opening 5 game weeks, basically 3 to 4 GA. So let's actually compare this to Son Heung-min. Compared to Maddison, Son's return rate lies at 0.4 goals/assists per start. That's 0.3 worse than Maddison. If you don't think this is significant, have a look at their individual expected returns. Maddison's actually expected to pick up 3.5 GA, which is 1.5 more than Son, and he's also got a better game week 1 record too. Look, I know Son's on penalties, and he often does hole bigger than Maddison, but if Son goes big, I do expect Maddison to get something too. And early on, Maddison allows you to cover Spurs' attack and add some differential spice into your midfield, as I doubt many will actually own him. Fixture-wise, Leicester away, Everton at home in the first 2 offers some decent upside, and Brentford in Game Week 5 isn't terrible either. He's on free kicks, corners, some good routes to points, and I think he's a solid option. The third most meta midfielder in my mind for the first 5 game weeks is Bukayo Saka. Priced at 10 million, I like to call Saka the FPL prince. If Salah is the current midfield king, I think Saka is the next in line for that king status. Fixtures wise, Arsenal start the season with Wolves at home in Game Week 1, great fixture. Then it's a trip to Aston Villa, a bit trickier. Then it's Brighton at home, Spurs away in Game Weeks 3 and 4. Then it's Man City in Game Week 5. On paper, this looks like a tough fixture schedule, but I think there is some great value in it. The Wolves fixture, the Brighton fixture, and the Spurs fixture. Look, Man City away isn't great in Game Week 5, but Arsenal play Leicester at home and Southampton at home in Game Week 6 and 7, which offer incredible value. I think it's worth holding Saka throughout the whole patch, just because I think, look, maybe he gets something against City, maybe not. If you want to bench him and rotate him, that's fine. Something that you should consider. But look, as a pick in the first 5 game weeks, Saka is definitely meta, and here's why. Game weeks 1 to 5, Saka's averaged 0.6 goals/assists per start in the last 2 seasons. That ranks 3rd best out of all of the FPL meta midfielders. He's predicted to pick up 3 goals/assists in the first 5 games. I give him a ceiling of 4 to 5 returns in this period, which you'd expect at a price point of 10 million. Look, I know Saka's fixtures early on A+, but it's just Game Week 6 and 7, plus I think Game Week 1 is probably the top 3 best fixtures on paper. And I think, look, Saka, if he puts up 3 to 4 GA, there will be a lot of midfield premiums who underperform that next season, so I think he's an excellent option. He's on Arsenal penalties, lots of routes to points with corners, really good minutes, and he's got seasons and seasons of consistency now, and I just think he's a full meta pick in this price point. Palmer's priced at 10.5, a little bit more expensive, but I just think if I'm picking one for the first 5 game weeks, I would go with Bukayo Saka. Number 4, it's Anthony Gordon. Gordon is another FPL mid I consider meta. In the past 2 seasons, Gordon's return rate across the first 5 games is 0.4 goals/assists per start. It's not ideal, but he's 7.5 million. Let's actually compare him to Bruno Fernandes, who's 1 million more expensive. Bruno's opening 5 return rate is the exact same as Gordon's at 0.4. 0.4 times 5 games equals 2 returns. So Bruno and Gordon are both predicted to hit 2 goals/assists in their first 5. Basically, what this shows is that by picking Gordon over the likes of a Bruno, an Odegaard, etc., you're actually getting more points per million because you're getting to save that 1 million, which actually means a lot in today's market in FPL, because we all know the player prices, okay? Haaland's at 15 million. Palmer's at 10.5. There's so many expensive guys out there, and I think if you can find real value in saving yourself that million, it's going to go a long way. And I think, look, Bruno's got a lot of extra routes to points, and the same as some of these other assets, right? Bruno's priced more expensive because of the pens, because of the corners, because of the talisman 90 minutes, etc. But I do think Gordon does outscore him in the opening 5. Newcastle's fixtures are so nice. Southampton at home, best fixture on paper. I think Gordon's got great hold potential in the first 5. Millions of managers will be looking to squeeze in the likes of Bruno, Odegaard, Son, when Gordon's sitting there at 7.5 million, cheap as piss, and he's got the same return rate as some of these guys. Same return rate as Bruno, same return rate as Son, right? So and the thing is, I will classify. I like Bruno as a pick, I really do. I think later down the line, he will come into the midfield meta, but as for now, I think players like Gordon, there's just too much value there. The 5th and final meta midfielder for the first 5 game weeks is Kevin De Bruyne. Now, this might surprise you. I really believe that Kevin De Bruyne is one of the best options to start with. Priced at 9.5 million. This is the cheapest he's ever been since 2019-2020 season. If he stays at City, I'm predicting this will probably be his final season. And the question is, will he finish at City with a bang? The problem with KDB in the past is that he's not been fit at the start of the seasons. He's picked up various injuries, hamstring, knee, calf, whatever, and that's drastically impacted his appeal as an FPL pick. The fact that KDB will actually be fully fit, not carrying any niggling injuries from Champions League finals, the fact that KDB will be fit for preseason makes him super appealing to me. And if you take a look at his data in the last 2 seasons that he was actually available in the first 5 game weeks, his data is up there with the very best in this video. Now, De Bruyne's averaging 0.7 goals/assists per start across the first 5 game weeks. That's tied 2nd with Maddison. If he gets 3 out of 5 starts next season, he's predicted to pick up 3.5 returns in the first 5. Basically 3 to 4 GA. He's got a great history of returning in Game Week 1 too. he actually did start in game week 1 last season, but he got injured around 30th minute, 40th minute mark, and he was out for a couple weeks after that. With Phil Foden also priced at 9.5 million, I think a lot of people will own Phil and disregard KDB as an option just because of how good Phil was last season. But I think KDB is the much better option in the first 5 because KDB actually has a way better return record in game week 1, and his return rate across the first 5 game weeks is slightly stronger than Foden, who has a return rate of 0.6 GA per start across the opening 5. So he's expected to pick up 3 returns. KDB expected to pick up 3.5. So it's a 0.5 difference for the same price. It's basically you go template or you go differential. I think you should back the differential, back KDB. He's got the better game week 1 return rate. Disagree with any of the top 5 meta midfielders? Let me know in the comments. If you want to dominate next season, here are some meta rotation pairs to consider when building your FPL drafts. And if this video provided you with some insight, leave a like and subscribe. Peace.